Hola, mi amigos and amigas. It is happy Cinco de Mayo for one and all, and episode 36 of Brento Cast. We are back again, my friends. This is going to be a mobile episode, so pardon me if you hear the hum of the air conditioner purring. I am just now leaving Snug Record Studios in Faith, where I spend most of my Wednesdays and some of my Fridays working on album projects. It's been a couple of weeks since the last Brento Cast, and a lot has gone down. We have traveled. Oh, have we traveled? We left home last Thursday and went all the way back to my friend Bill's place in Ohio to finish cleaning out his art and scanning his home in preparation for it being sold off, and said our final goodbyes to Bill's earthly abode, and spent some time in a little kind of like a spa retreat sort of cabin sort of hotel called Mario's International Spa and Cabin Hotel in Aurora, Ohio. My wife really loved this place the first time we went there, and so she planned this little getaway thing with us to coincide with me trying to get my business done. But this time, fortunately, I did have the time to get all the stuff done that I needed to do. The rain was not totally cooperative, and northern Ohio is a whole different kind of weather system than what I'm accustomed to, and I was a little worried that I might not be able to get everything done, but fortunately the good Lord saw fit to give us several windows in which we could get out and do the drone shots and film Bill's treehouse village and things like that. So we were able to get it, and from there it was then decided that I was going to drive Nancy all the way, another 8 hours travel, more like 13 hours, with all the stopping and whatnot, to Virginia Beach, Virginia, which I did. Never drove that stretch before. That's 247 miles on the Ohio Turnpike, and then you go right on to the Virginia Turnpike, and not having much experience on turnpikes, that became a problem when we stopped at they don't call them rest areas like we do in the South, they call them service plazas. So we stopped at a service plaza and went in. Nancy wanted to sit in the car for a bit, so she did. She came in with the keys after I went in, and apparently went straight to a place and got some snacks and set the keys on the counter and forgot they were there. And when it got time to leave and I didn't have the keys, I said, hey, go see where I think you did have them. And so she went and checked, and the lady's like, no, we don't have any lost keys, and came back. So we started calling locksmiths, and because it was on the plaza, you can't get to that. There's no access roads to get you to that, to basically make all the traffic on the turnpike stay on the turnpike until you pay to get off. Well, anyway, the first guy gets there, and apparently it put him on the other side, and he just does his own thing and leaves, and basically didn't worry about us. And the company Kimi dispatched a second guy, and that guy was a little more in the know, but I did call him immediately and say, hey, we are at the plaza, we're coming off the turnpike, you'll have to get on the turnpike to get to us. So no problem, he did get there, and it took him about 45 minutes, but all in all we waited about 2 hours. We get there, the guy's awesome, he's in the car in like 2 minutes, and the alarm starts going off immediately. No keys in the car. So then Nancy, I didn't witness this part, but she goes back in and she tells me she goes up to the counter and says, I need help. And then that woke the girl up, and she goes, oh, are these your keys? Pie face, right? So that was $155 and 2 hours of stress and wait time that cost us for that girl being half asleep when my wife asked her if they got any keys turned in. But them's the breaks, right? So instead of flipping out, I just kept it together. We wound up getting to Virginia Beach to our hotel, the Westin, in the town center, at about 12:30. Then we're up again first thing in the morning because Nancy was attending a conference for estheticians and beauticians and whatnot. She told me originally, just give me 4 hours. Well, that plan changed to I want to stay all day, so we didn't leave out of there until about 4:30. And then I guess we got home about 10:30, 11 at night. But hey, on the upside, I did go get to visit the Poseidon statue down there at Neptune's Park in Virginia Beach. And Virginia Beach is a very, very clean beach, and I could not have found closer parking to the area that I was interested in visiting, so that was perfect. Lots of fighter jets flying over because there's a naval base close by, I guess. So it was a cool experience on the whole. Super, super clean beach. I tried to take some scans for Polycam for the of the Neptune, but because I didn't have the ability to get over them, and there was just no chance I was going to fly the drone down there, it didn't turn out. Although the scans of Bill's house turned out great, by the way. So yeah, I get back home, and typically we watch Delilah on Thursdays, but because we've been gone so long and we didn't see her the normal amount that weekend, we're going to watch her the first night back, and Summer brought her over, and she was coughing right immediately. And as soon as she sat on my lap at my computer, I realized, I was like, this kid's got a fever. Let's take her home so we don't all get sick. Because I was actually, I was starting to get a headache at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon before I went to pick her up to school. So I know mine was not related to her sickness or whatever, but, oh great, looks like I'm going to get caught by the train. That's awesome. Well, this is what you get when you do on-the-road episodes, but it's all good, right? Let's hear a little bit of that soundscape. Yes! Yes! Hear that train coming around a bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Sorry about this. I'm not used to this particular train stop, so I'm just trying to get myself into position. So anyway, we take her home that night, and then of course the very next day Summer's like, oh, she's not sick, y'all, you should just watch her today, and brings her back. And I understand the dynamic, being a single mom and not wanting to have her every single minute, because a 3.5-year-old's a handful. But that's kind of how the week went, was kind of dealing with her being sick a little bit, and schedule kind of getting mussed about. So I did not get my submission work done the way I had hoped to, but you know what? No big deal. It's all good. And I love hanging out with her anyway. We had a good time the second night watching a show called Mummies from Pixar, which is really good. Actually, your kids are bound to love that. So today I actually cut, just now as I'm leaving the studio, I cut the hand percussion and stuff with Tony Torres on the whole Southern Lane album. Tony is a big part of our live show and a good friend of mine, and I always told him, I was like, hey, if I can get you on the album, I want you on the album, because I feel like you're kind of a part of the music happening, and it's important to keep people around you, to keep you motivated and keep you being able, in a position to do more than just playing acoustic guitar by yourself live. So important person to me, an important musician to my music. So I was glad to get him up there and have him put some of his specialty, which of course is congas, bongos, all this hand percussion that he does at our live shows, and he's really good at it too. So that's great. It turned out really good. Excited to hear all that worked into the mixes on these songs, and we're getting very close on that album in general. Quick update on the V-Hill album Part 2. Those guys are coming in just about a month, and I think I have a solid lockdown on the songs that they want to record. I am in the process of writing a song for Ron to do for that one, but that one hasn't been signed off yet. But the other 2 or 3, I think, I do have solid representations of, for little demos that they gave me in chords and whatnot. Additionally, I have met a new musician that I'm going to start working with on a production of a original album project. And the really exciting thing about this is a piano man, like a singer-songwriter, but strictly on piano. So he's a Baldwin piano artist, like Billy Joel used to be. He's very much in the vein of Billy Joel, and that's super cool because I'm a mega Billy Joel fan. He's kind of like a parallel of me as a songwriter if I were strictly a piano player. So, and I think he plays a little guitar too, just the songs are actually piano driven. But anyway, his name is Mark. I'm going to be talking more about him in the future, but I just had a technical conversation with the engineer, Eddie Snuggs at Snug Records, about how we would go about recording him. I think Eddie's going to help me try to record his Baldwin, 9-foot Baldwin piano, grand piano, in his basement, and we'll try to do that on location. And if we can do that successfully for one, perhaps we can build a whole album around that, which will be kind of a different workflow for us, having the songs driven by the piano and to a click track, and then producing the rhythm, the rock and roll rhythm around it. And some of his songs really hit. They're 20 years old, and I think he's kind of gotten inspired again. Us kind of like dragging up the old music, and he's writing again. So I feel like there's probably already a good album there, but maybe even a better album, by the time all the sparks start kicking off and the cylinders start firing, so to speak. But very different from anything I've done before, but also something I'm super enthusiastic about doing because, like I said, I listen to tons of Billy Joel in my time and artists like that. Joshua Caddison, Bruce Hornsby. I like that piano rock and roll, man. I like it. So yeah, like I might have mentioned earlier, still I'm now at the point where I'm working on my submissions of my Oswolf HD character for Genesis 9 at daz3d.com. Only CGI and digital art geeks are going to know what I'm talking about. But there you go. Upcoming performances is next up on the notes, and hey, tomorrow night I will be at Loafers and Legends with my bandmates Lee McRae and Harrison the Hitman Foreman, starting up at 7 o'clock. 7 to 9 is the time we usually play there. Come on out. It's acoustic, but with like a cajon or like maybe electronic drums turned down really low. So yeah, there's a little bit of percussion and 2 guitars playing some solos and singing some ditties, that's what it is. So hopefully you guys are in the area looking for something to do. Y'all will make it out and check out some cool Americana, yo. Now, that of course is not my only performance this month. The last Saturday in the month, I will be with the band at downtown Albemarle once again, playing our tunes, starting up at 6:30, running until at least 8 o'clock. Come on by, check us out. I mean, like about 1,000 people came by the last time we played out there, so that was dope. I mean, they were in their cars and they were driving by, but I mean, hey, they did come by. I'm sorry, I used that joke. Ray Kazai gets the credit for that joke back in the day when he was our manager, and we played in front of a boat dealership right in front of a major highway. He's like, about 1,000 people came by our last show. Anyway, I moved my personal website. It's been around for almost 18 years now. 18 years worth of content on a single site. Finally came time to move it over to, I think I might have mentioned this the last podcast, but moving over to a different host. So it's there now, but if everything doesn't work or some of the pictures aren't in order, just give us a moment to get that back in order, and we will be dialing that up and redesigning that site. I have so much content, I really need a redesign now to make it a little bit more accessible without having to dig so far. And it's important to keep my retrospective, my life retrospective, my memoirs, if you will. Now, talking about video projects, putting together something new, kind of a old film review show with my friend Ron Vigil. Still waiting on that first script, which I've been promised a few times, but we're going to try to shoot an episode of that as a pilot. As I mentioned, I brought back a bunch of puppets from Bill, and it turns out these puppets were probably a little further down the line, like he had evolved his technique a little bit. They still need a lot of work, but I'm trying to formulate at this time a strategy for putting that stuff back together in a displayable format and documenting it all for the website. I have a bunch of Vudu purchases of late that I really need to watch, but I gotta tell you guys, there's one, if you get on Vudu and look at the latest Batman animated film, it is, I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head, but basically it's blended with Lovecraftian lore, and he's sort of fighting the old ones, and it is super cool. I'm about 2/3 of the way through that. I loved Renfield, which I might have mentioned. Enjoyed the new Mario Brothers film. I've had a run of good films here lately that I've really enjoyed. And I think I'm going to check out The Devil's Exorcist. The Pope's Exorcist. Freudian slip there. The Pope's Exorcist tonight on whatever format. I'm going to check that out real soon. And I do want to get out to see the new Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Rising. Would love to see that, but my wife pretty much won't go see a movie unless we drive an hour to go see it at Davidson Theater. So that's kind of a bummer. Sometimes I have to resort to doing that for myself, going to see it. But the thing is, I'm resting up tonight because tomorrow's a performance day, hauling all the gear and giving the performance. 2-hour performance, by the way, and we do not take breaks once we start. I have to have a certain amount of energy stored up for that. But as you know, I'm gonna bring it like I always do. And me and Harrison and Lee are there to entertain you. So get on out there and show us some love. Throw us a couple bones in the old tip jar, and we'll just keep doing this as long as we can until the wheels fall off, as they say. I guess that's about it for your typical update. That's what's going on. As always, there's something just around the corner to keep me hopping, and this has just been a particularly busy week. We are making a slight schedule change at our store. We're going to be closing at 3 o'clock on Friday, starting this Friday. I don't know how long it'll take for people to kind of get that message and start observing that, but we will we'll definitely be stopping that whole production very, very soon. And, being open until 6, that production, it's like, we just kind of looked at our schedule and said, hey, we need a little bit more time to prep things for the store. Instead of having to work such early mornings and late nights, it makes sense for us to find a time. And as it turned out, that's probably the slowest time of the week, is from like 3 to 6 on a Friday. Everybody's getting ready for their weekend and whatnot. So that's when we chose that, to give Nancy a little bit more of a break. And pretty chuffed with that. The Albemarle Nutrition website is doing great. We're getting plenty of sales through that, so check that out if you're interested in some of our own brand products on there. And if not, come into the store. We've got over 25,000 products right now. Come check it out if you're into health food stores, fitness, or meal replacements. Didn't mean this to sound like a commercial. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a little tired at the moment. Just spent all my creative juice there at the studio, but looking forward to a quiet night of rest and then an awesome performance tomorrow night. Should be a blast. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more, which will be coming your way sooner than you think. Brento out.